While the year 2020 will doubtless go down as a year involving COVID, it'll also be a year in which electric vehicles came into public consciousness. Questions are now being asked of the mining sector how it can supply the range of minerals needed to drive this type of new transportation. Talking now to George Bennett from Rainbow Rare Earths about its business of supplying metals needed for permanent magnets, a critical element of an electric vehicle. George, it's good to talk to you. Thanks indeed for joining us on the line now from Johannesburg. Now, I know you've been at Rainbow Rare Earths for just something shy of 18 months. First of all, what is Rainbow Rare Earths and its connection with the electric vehicle market?
Thank you for holding this interview. Basically, Rainbow is a producing rare earth mine in Africa. We've got a producing asset in Burundi, and it's one of the few producing rare earth mines in the world that are listed. Only one in Africa, there's one in Australia and one in America. We also recently acquired another rare earth asset in South Africa at a town called Phalaborwa, which will make Rainbow the only diversified rare earth mining company in the world, I believe.
I said at the top, you've been there almost 18 months. What's your involvement with the business and what's your brief with regard to this engagement?
Well, I became a major shareholder in Rainbow when I saw the opportunity of the Burundi project called Gakara. This is a very high-grade rare earth mineralized mining area, and the company had been trial mining for a short while and basically proving up that this resource is a very good resource and with very good mineralogy, and it consistently produces a very high-grade rare earth concentrate, which is critical for any rare earth mine from a profitability point of view. As I said, Rainbow didn't approach the project originally in the historical manner and doing exploration and doing a feasibility study, but went straight into production with a pilot plant. And what I've done is I've come in and I'm going back to basics where I'm embarking on a traditional exploration program. I've already started that with the JORC statement released some 3 months ago, giving us an exploration target, which I'll now be taking into the inferred category. At the same time, I've also been proving that we can consistently mine within our license area this high-grade rare earth concentrate. And very importantly, we have the two key components for the permanent magnet market, which are neodymium and praseodymium, which are a very high percentage of Rainbow's basket. They basically make up 20% of our basket, which equate for about 85% of the value.
Yeah, now, of course, everybody, as I said at the top, now knows more about electric vehicles than we did at the start of the year. Clearly, this is something everybody's talking about. Just precisely what it is do these two elements do within the permanent magnet market, which is included in this electric vehicle? Why do we need them? What is it that it provides electric vehicles with the ability to do?
Well, the two key components of permanent magnets being neodymium and praseodymium, two rare earth elements, are vital because these permanent magnets enable electric motors to be far smaller and have far better range. And also it allows them to use less copper, which is very expensive as well. So basically they create a far more efficient electric motor. And these electric motors are not only required in your drivetrain of an electric vehicle, but also your electric windows, your windscreen wipers, and so forth. And not only are these permanent magnets required in electric vehicles, which take between 2 and 3 kilograms per vehicle, but the wind turbine market also requires rare earth magnets, permanent magnets, and each 3 megawatt wind turbine requires 2 tons of rare earth magnets, which is a huge volume of rare earth magnets per wind turbine. And as we know, legislation is driving emission controls worldwide, and they've got very, very aggressive targets for electric vehicles in Europe and the US as well as China. And we've seen very aggressive wind power targets being set in the European countries and in the US as well as China once again. And basically this green technology requires these permanent magnets.
Yeah, let me just bring up a share price chart just so we can get some perspective on where we are in terms of, this is a chart that goes actually back to the sort of early part of 2019. You can see the last month, 6 weeks or so, share price has risen to just over 3 pence. This is listed in London on the AIM market, all the way up to 11 pence in the space of 6 weeks. We've now got a market cap just shy of about 50 million sterling. Just tell us a little bit more about what's going on, because you've recently had a placing for just over 2.5 million sterling. What is that going to do for the company? What are you able to do now because of that raising?
Well, we successfully acquired this Phalaborwa project in South Africa, which is 2 gypsum stacks at a mining town, Phalaborwa, which contain a huge amount of rare earths in it. And the money we've raised will enable us to carry on proving our trial mining concept at the Kakara project in Burundi and taking that into a break-even in-country position, as well as I hope to be small cash flow positive next year, as well as drill these 2 gypsum stacks we've acquired at Phalaborwa and get them into the inferred category and possibly all the way up to M&R resource category, and we'll be able to do the metallurgy and mineralogy work that we will require to embark on a full feasibility study next year.
So the money is going to do all of that. Do you anticipate being able to start to sell into the market before the money runs out? In other words, you're going to have to come back to the market to raise more money.
No, this money will just get the Phalaborwa project, as I said, to drill the resource, do metallurgical test work and assays, and basically will then enable us to embark on a full feasibility study next year for the Phalaborwa project. And in Burundi, it'll get us into break even and slightly cash flow positive for the balance of 2021. We hope to increase our production level in Burundi to between 1,200 and 1,500 tons of concentrate per annum. And basically, this is all sold to China at the moment very successfully. We have an offtake agreement with ThyssenKrupp, and we consistently produce a very high-grade concentrate. That will enable us to eventually get Kakara into a full-scale commercial production operation in Burundi.
What about the future for independent companies like yourselves? Because we know that China is desperate to get its hands on raw material, and it is going into the market heavily in order to try and achieve that at source. Do you see Rainbow Rare Earths as remaining an independent company? Are you doing all you can to keep it independent? What sort of pressures are you under to ensure that it's not just stripped out by the Chinese?
Well, we definitely are aiming to keep it independent. At the moment, the West has woken up to the fact that the supply chain for rare earths is controlled by China. They control 80% of the production and 90% of the downstream processing. And we hope to move downstream after producing a concentrate at Kakara. And at the Phalaborwa project, we've already gone downstream with our processing plant, which will produce a rare earth carbonate, mixed rare earth carbonate, which is already one step downstream. And we hope to go all the way through to separated rare earth oxides, and very importantly, the 2 key components for neodymium and praseodymium for the magnet market. And as I said, the whole Western world has realized that they don't want to rely on China, and they are looking for alternative strategic sources of rare earths.
In terms of shareholder interest in this, just want to bring the share price back again and ask a little bit more about what this is pricing in. Clearly, as a big shareholder yourself, I think you got about, is it about 10% of the stock, I think, is in your name. Is that right?
About 9% of the stock, yes.
Yeah. So you obviously have a big interest in this, which is good. I mean, investors love to see chief executives with a bigger slice as possible, I guess, to a degree. What about shareholder returns? What are your plans to encourage to continue engagement with shareholders? And what does 10.5 pence mean for the business? What's it pricing in?
Well, it's pricing in basically that we can successfully drill the Phalaborwa project, but as we deliver results from Phalaborwa, I believe we'll see our share value being enhanced. And as we successfully prove the Kakara project can, at these rare earth prices, break even and make money, I think we'll see that improving the share price as well. What we are going to see in the market is that over the next 5 to 10 years, the price of neodymium and praseodymium increasing dramatically. The demand for these 2 key rare earth elements is forecast to grow 4 to 5 times over the next 5 to 10 years. And that will obviously impact on the value of the company. And I see positive returns going forward, hopefully many times over once again.
Yeah. Okay. Briefly, I think you've mentioned some of the points to watch out for next year. What do you regard as the big milestones for 2021?
Well, it'll be our successful drilling of the Phalaborwa deposit and producing a resource for those 2 gypsum stacks we've secured. as well as getting Gakara to between 1,200 and 1,500 tons of concentrate production next year.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. And we'll look forward to speaking to you again at some point, maybe in 2021. Stay safe. Thanks indeed for joining us, George. It's a pleasure to talk to you from Rainbow Rare Earths. That's George Bennett. He's the Chief Executive of the company.